I think banking in general can be, at least opening a small business can be really intimidating.
Yeah.
It has never felt that way working with Bremer. Our business wouldn't exist without an SBA loan. Bremer swooped in, held us under their wing, and walked us through it. And we ended up getting everything we needed. Bremer sees us. I mean, like, really sees us.
They're our cheerleaders behind closed doors, and who knew it was going to be our bankers?
I know, right?
Want your boss to put some real action behind the rhetoric when they talk about making your workplace more inclusive? Find out how to hold their feet to the fire and demand diversity on the Diversity Dude podcast.
Hello there, and welcome back to the Diversity Dude podcast. I'm your host, Lambert Fisher, marriage and family therapist, award-winning author, and national speaker on the topic of multicultural awareness and diversity. And for those of you who are interested in even more positive and encouraging tips and strategies beyond what I share in podcasts like this, then feel free to check out my award-winning book, Diversity in Clinical Practice, nationally recognized for the unique way in which it addresses the often difficult topic of multicultural awareness and diversity, designed for more than just therapists. If you're a helping professional in any way, Diversity in Clinical Practice can help you meet the greatest variety of cultural needs possible for those whom you serve. And it's available in paper and audiobook versions for your convenience. And if you haven't heard it yet, I invite you to visit TED.com and check out my talk called What to Do When You Offend Someone, where I offer a positive and practical perspective on how to navigate unintentional offenses in daily life. To date, it's been viewed over 500,000 times. Check it out for yourself. And if you're encouraged by it, feel free to share it with a friend. And whether it be through my one-on-one efforts as a therapist or my informing and empowering efforts as an author or speaker, know that my personal mission is to do my part to improve the world one strengthened relationship at a time. So today I want to share with you an encouraging perspective on the case for joining consumer boycotts. This year, on the last day of February, the month dedicated to the increased acknowledgments of the experiences and contributions of African Americans throughout this country's history, there was an organized effort to boycott large retail businesses who chose to roll back their support of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, such as eliminating minority hiring goals and other initiatives. Target, Walmart, John Deere were just a few of the large companies involved. Although the first boycott date has passed and the financial impact of that one-day boycott is still being evaluated, new efforts have been made by faith leaders and community organizers to continue that boycott for another 40 days or longer. As awareness continues to grow and conversations increase regarding the motivations and the significance of efforts like these, one common question often arises, both publicly and privately, that being, should you participate in the boycott? Well, considering not only the potential personal impact of such a decision, but also the social impact involved in whether or not you participate, with family looking on, friends, colleagues, and more who may be watching what decision you make, I thought I'd share a few things to consider that may help you make a decision that you can not only defend, but also feel good about moving forward. Consideration number one, boycotts succeed when the driving motives are clear. As I mentioned before, the difference between a protest and a riot is that the protest is a healthy expression of feeling, and a riot is an unhealthy expression of feeling, though the feeling is legitimate in both circumstances. Thus, consumer boycotts like this are a form of healthy protesting, intended to express a legitimate feeling. The feeling in circumstances like these are dissatisfaction with the decision of significant retailers to roll back their diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. The goal of the protest is to send a message. That message is being, if you, large companies, don't care about us, minority populations directly impacted by DEI efforts, then we don't care about you. Or to put it more simply, if you don't support us, then we won't support you. Now, the hope is not for a mutual stalemate or long-term ill will. Instead, the hope is that if arguments intended to encourage care and value for all customers aren't enough to persuade putting action behind those words, then maybe the loss of funds will be persuasive enough to encourage them to value every customer, more so than just certain customers. So why should that matter to you? Well, because if you identify as one of those groups that the consumer retailers are choosing to no longer value, then it is your interests that will be impacted. Your preferred products that would no longer be stocked, and slowly but surely, over time, your needs that would no longer be met. And it's been said that while Target, as just one example, chose not to comment on the financial impact of the boycott itself, they did make a statement that they are committed to inclusivity and offering a range of products owned by minority-owned vendors. Now, on the surface, this is a positive gesture, with them simply ending one way of expressing care while committing to still being focused on all of their consumers, even if committing to having certain products by minority vendors. However, by decreasing their intentional efforts to hire diverse staff, their ability to do the very thing that they said they were going to do is actually hindered. Not because of the percentages of who's hired or the variety and skin tone in the company photo, but instead the wide range and variety, dare I say diversity, of the leaders making the decisions about which vendors and what products that will get placed in the stores, and thus whose needs in the community will get met, will all be hindered because they'll be influenced by only a select representation of the population. In contrast, maintaining diversity, equity, inclusion efforts, especially in hiring, but also on how things are done once they get there, ensures that intentional efforts can be made to be aware of a greater variety of needs in the community, and thus, as a company, being able to meet a greater variety of needs for everyone involved. All that to say, consumers have a vested interest in doing whatever is within their power, such as boycotts like this, to encourage companies to maintain efforts internally and externally so that everyone's needs can get met moving forward. Now, how that vested interest gets expressed leads to consideration number two. Boycotts succeed when the benefits outweigh the sacrifice. What do I mean? Well, one of the barriers to participating in boycotts such as these are the sacrifice that's involved in participation. One of the reasons that stores can make such decisions as rolling back DEI policies and procedures is because of the belief that their consumers have no other options. They have no other choices. They have to shop there to get what they need, so they can thus be taken for granted. In many ways, this is unfortunately true. For if you have certain products that you need in order to take care of your family, then the decision to boycott a business is not an easy one. This is completely understandable. It makes sense. This is why each individual must assess the level of sacrifice their participation will take and whether they can participate at all. Let me be clear. Boycotts are not intended to be easy. There is an assumption of mutual inconvenience built in. While consumers are inconveniencing themselves by choosing not to shop where it's convenient or where they might get the lowest prices, they're doing so in order to inconvenience the retail companies in a greater way, in hopes that at the end, the consumers will be valued in a way that helps them obtain their wants and needs in increasing ways over time. To assist in boycotts like this and to reduce the level of inconvenience required, organizations such as the NAACP have created resources like the Black Consumer Advisory with intentional efforts to guide people toward alternative minority-owned businesses to not only support the businesses themselves in new and greater ways over time, but also to help make sure every consumer can still meet their needs and make that voluntary sacrifice a little bit less. In an ideal world, the choice to boycott a big retailer would increase awareness of minority-owned businesses everywhere that didn't get awareness previously. And even after the boycott is over, and after the return to convenience stores to meet general needs and a greater level of appreciation for all consumers, the minority-owned businesses would still get greater business as well because of the increased awareness that came during the boycott. Thus, everyone wins. The retail businesses eventually win. The minority businesses also win, and the consumers win all as well. And finally, consideration number three. Boycotts succeed when allies step up. Another thing retailers can take for granted is that even in boycotts such as this, the impact on them can be insignificant, because the people who they are impacting are in small in number, and that they can feel like they can ride it out and be ready to welcome them back when the inconvenience becomes too much for the customers to maintain. However, built into the assumption that only minority consumers will be participating in the boycott, the fact that if those in the majority also participate, then the inconvenience placed on the companies is even greater, having a better chance of sending a more significant message and bringing more significant change. The question becomes, if those who consider themselves to be allies are not directly impacted by the rolling back of DEI policies and procedures and initiatives, then why should they participate? The answer is simple. Because of the value and care for all customers, all individuals, all families, all communities, and the belief that everyone should be represented in every business, in every store, in every community, even if you're not directly impacted. If you know someone see someone, care for someone, anyone who is impacted by this, then one of the best ways to support them is to support the causes that are impacting them. Yes, words matter, but your behavior matters more. Not only that, but your behavior showing that you are willing to inconvenience yourself in order to benefit someone else sends a big message, a lasting message of care and consideration beyond oneself. With all this in mind, my hope for you is that you will be able to make a healthy and informed decision regarding the benefits of organized consumer benefits, as well as whether or not you can view these benefits of sending a message of value and worth to be worth the inconvenience of participating in the process. Ideally, whether you support in word and or in action, the message effectively sent can be today Target and Walmart and a few other larger companies in the case, but eventually it's everyone else watching, all the other companies sitting back and watching, seeing the financial consequences of discounting and devaluing entire groups of people on the company's bottom line, and then deciding for themselves that rather than be the next company struggling to meet their financial goals, they'll instead put their money where their mouth is and show in action that they see and value the needs of all consumers, not just the ones who look like them. Because while it would be nice if just telling them about the needs of everyone got the message through and was motivating enough, sometimes people only learn or become open to change when they're inconvenienced enough to need to. So consider today whether or not you're willing to or have the privilege to inconvenience yourself in order to inconvenience them, so that they'll be motivated to prioritize conveniencing you, along with every other consumer, more and more so moving forward. And with that, I'll say thanks again for listening today to the Diversity Do podcast. If you have any pressing diversity-related questions that you'd like me to address on an upcoming podcast, or if your organization is in need of a shame-free and empowering guest speaker or training on this often sensitive topic, then feel free to reach out to me directly at www.diversitymadesimple.com. And if you know of anyone else who can benefit from a positive and encouraging perspective on this often difficult topic, feel free to send them a link to this podcast so they can be encouraged as well, or send them my award-winning book, Diversity in Clinical Practice, available at Amazon.com. And don't forget to visit TED.com. Check out my talk called What to Do When You Offend Someone. I hope it inspires you and that you can share with someone else so they can be inspired as well. And as usual, I look forward to addressing as many topics as possible in future podcasts to help you improve as many relationships as possible at work, at home, and in your community. And as always, remember this: you don't need to know everything about everyone in order to have a positive impact on someone. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a great day.
Tune in each week and find out how to demand and implement diversity at your job. To hear more, check out previous Diversity Dude shows on ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African-American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast-quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
What's this North 5 game?
It's a $1 Minnesota-only lotto game.
Wait, what?
Yeah, drawings are daily.
Wait, what?
It also features Easy Match. So for an extra $1, if your Easy Match numbers match any of your draw numbers, you can win instantly.
Wait, what?
Plus, you can still win the big jackpot by matching your North 5 number, so you can win now and win later.
Wait, what?
North 5 with Easy Match. Win now, win later, whenever.
What's up, everyone? It's Shaletta. I'm here getting a phone for one of my newly minted teenagers with Xfinity Mobile. They've got great options, affordable plans, and solid coverage that works for our whole family. With Xfinity Mobile, my daughter can stay connected with me wherever she goes. And did you know when you sign up, you can get an extra phone line free for a full year? Switch to Xfinity Mobile today for more savings, more smiles, and more ways to stay connected.